Welcome to Season 4 of AIHA's podcast series, The Healthier Workplaces Show, where we explore timely and informative topics about occupational and environmental health and safety. I'm your host, Alejandro Castillo. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Tom West. Tom is Vice President and Global Practice Leader at MākuSafe. He is a certified occupational safety specialist with extensive executive leadership experience. Tom has led various companies in the learning, development, and technology spaces. Tom presented his session, How Wearable Tech Fuels Data-Driven EHS Strategies at AIHA Connect 2025. We're here today to learn more about how wearable technology is reshaping workplace safety. Tom, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks very much for having me, Alejandro. Nice to be with you.
Let's get started. The use of technology to manage industrial hygiene is not new in OEHS. How does wearable technology use data to provide real-time notifications to workers' condition?
Yeah, you're right. Technology is not new,
Nope.
Especially in this expo hall. It's interesting to walk around and see things like area monitors and lab testing and sophisticated instrumentation. Our approach is a little bit different. We've developed wearable technology at MākuSafe that is easy and economical and could almost be viewed as smart PPE that gathers a tremendous amount of leading indicator data about the most frequent and most costly incidents and accidents, so safety leaders can be more preventative and proactive.
Give me a few examples of this smart PPE.
Yeah, so I've got our wearable here and I'm wearing one. That little device that we've created and patented is about the size of a matchbox. It's worn in an armband, right? Workers check that out at the beginning of the day and they return it at the end of their shift. And we've got what I think is safe to say the most wide array of sensors built into this very small device that's available in the market. In short, we're monitoring a tremendous amount of environmental conditions. We couple that with ergonomic risk. We enable push-to-talk voice communication between the front lines and safety leaders, and we do an awful lot with location identification and proximity.
Of course.
But even the simplest of those things, like ambient temperature and ambient humidity. For this audience here of industrial hygienists and scientists and PhDs, that is very, very, very simple. But when you're monitoring that from now on a worker, and you're doing that in real time, and behind the scenes, we can use the power of cloud computing to compute a real-time heat index for any worker, indoor or outdoors. We can generate notifications when they may be entering a danger zone or when conditions might become favorable for them to experience heat illness or injury. That can be game-changing, and moving sensors throughout a facility when worn by an entire workforce paint a completely different picture than an area monitor would, or wall-mounted fixed sensors might. So that really is just the tip of the iceberg of what we do, but it's a really good entry into understanding why this can be game-changing. We're monitoring air quality. We're a full noise dosimeter. We're even looking at light levels, and we couple that with movement and motion and potentially hazardous ergonomic risk, starting with slips and trips and falls to twisting and turning and repetitive motion. We're gathering all that data in real time, and we provide an analytics dashboard for industrial clients. So even on a smartphone, a frontline team leader or safety manager can receive notifications about what is most important to them or about their team and what people are experiencing and being exposed to right now. So really a lot of impact for clients. Maybe we can get into some use cases and examples. Probably an area where we're having a great amount of success because it's such a big potential problem is strain and exertion, injury prevention. So we've had so many of them now for multiple years, and they're just scaling site after site after site because the impact has been so significant. Most within 12 months have been able to reduce those types of injuries by 50 to 85% and reduce their work comp costs so significantly that we even have insurance brokers now who calculate losses avoided as close to $500,000 per site.
Impressive.
So, technology like this, while very, very simple in its approach, is unique in the marketplace. There's much more sophisticated stuff out there and things for special applications, which we can talk a little bit about. But the impact of becoming more data-driven and looking at real-time leading indicators and being proactive really can be quite significant for organizations. Heat, as I mentioned, that's another big deal. Maybe the most valuable thing that we do, but seemingly the simplest, is the ability for any worker to push a button, speak via voice, and report things like near misses or good catches to safety leaders. And all that goes in real time to a software platform so that they can see those things. But creating that reporting culture, I think everybody would agree is important, right?
Very beneficial.
Yeah, those observations from the front line, whether they be about safety concerns or operations constraints or quality issues, all of that, if responded to and positively reinforced, really can be quite a contribution to culture.
Let's talk more about the data-driven solutions. What can we do with this data, let's say in 15 to 20 years?
That's a really good question. I spoke about that in a presentation this morning. And really my first message was the future is now.
Of course.
Technology and tools that are able to have an immediate impact and don't need to be costly anymore, don't need to be complicated. They can be simple and easy to use, really can provide tremendous impact. So right now, I think deploying these tools can be a huge advantage for organizations. Something that we talk about as a company to clients is really, internalizing or operationalizing data and becoming more data-driven, making data or evidence-based decisions, right? That takes some time if that's a change for an organization. In the near future, I really see that there's a connected ecosystem of different technologies that are all feeding data to the same central place.
Of course.
Right? There may be special, circumstances where remote workers need a 24/7, call center support.
Of course.
Or, we might have people in a heavy materials area that wear exoskeletons, or 4 gas monitors for things that can kill you before confined space entry. We're almost, the technology for the other 90% of the workforce. All that data going to one place and learning how to utilize it to make better decisions by all levels of leadership really is what I think the future holds. And everybody is talking about, of course, AI and safety.
I was going to bring that up, yes.
Yeah, I actually was asked to be on ASSP's task force for using AI and safety. And I think everyone has probably heard the phrase garbage in, garbage out. Mm-hmm. Right? All of these large language models and the power of this computing really is limited when you have only historical records.
Of course.
Right? Then we've got AI trying to be predictive only based on past history. But when we can supplement that with real-time leading indicator data from an industrial hygiene point of view, from an ergonomic point of view, from a frontline worker reporting point of view, and understand where things are happening, when they're happening, who's involved, have better conversations, make notes within a system, all of that will just become a force multiplier that I don't believe replaces anybody.
Of course.
I get that a lot from industrial hygienists. Will sensors replace us? Is that really what you're trying to do? And I think the answer is no. But data can make insight and focus more evident and certainly can make the job more easy and effective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Data is crucial. Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
Yep.
What advice would you give to OEHS professionals who want to use the technology but may have concerns?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something lately I've been evangelizing about. I love this time of year. Early in the year, usually tends to be an awful lot of surveys out. I've seen them across the board from large associations. And one thing I think they all show with regard to technology, especially when you remove EHS management software from the equation, right? That's a safety technology, but it's almost becoming table stakes these days. When it comes to all of the other technologies that are available to the safety professionals, I think adoption rates are so small that what it really shows is the need for an innovating attitude and the desire to pilot things that are available now. I think that's important. And again, as I was saying earlier, becoming more data-minded is a shift, right? Becoming more leading indicator focus is a shift. And realizing that, even if you have initiatives, everybody does. We've got these strategic objectives, right? Our focus is on SIF prevention. Really, it comes down to people and culture. And, something as simple as our technology and the ability to get everyone to contribute their observations from the front line really is culture building. So a lot of those things, I think, are a call to action for safety professionals today, and I think it's time to evolve.
Absolutely, this will save lives in the future. It's a great step forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask, regarding the collection of data, what steps are placed or implemented right now to keep that data safe?
Yeah, really good question. So we're a company that utilizes tools from a major cloud provider, right? Everybody's got some kind of data in the cloud these days. That's just the way it goes. Being with a major cloud provider, we've got all of those securities and gates passed on to us. Our approach has always been that the client owns the data, right? It's theirs, it's yours, and we keep it there for as long as you want it. It's accessible to any level of leadership within the organization that wants it. So I think that's important. And, if I might transition just for a moment to the frontline worker,
Please.
Because you're asking about security and privacy issues, I think those are valid concerns from the worker point of view as well. And the organization usually has concerns about
Absolutely.
that too. Now, from our approach, we're looking outward for experiences and exposures, as I mentioned, and there's nothing in our device that is looking inward at the worker. No PII, no biometrics. We're not continuously tracking people. There's no button I can push to find out where Alejandro is right now.
Good to hear.
Yeah, and I think those are valid concerns. On the other hand, being able to look at trends or patterns based on data and knowing who's involved, who can I ask, more about this, or, in today's world where frontline workers are really rotating through a multitude of tasks every day, being able to know where to study, what to study, when somebody's experiencing something, really can be game changing.
Absolutely. Now, a little birdie told me that you have a book coming out soon. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's not something that we published, but a couple of years ago, CRC Press, a large publisher of academic and professional publications, reached out to us and told me something I already knew, which is there's no book on the wearable space for safety, and we've been thinking about this for an awful long time. They did some research on our company and asked if I would be willing to write it. I swiftly enrolled the help of two co-founders of the company, Mark and Gabe, and together we took on this task. And had I known it was going to be about 2 years of nights and weekends,
Wow.
I don't know that I would have said yes, but we set out really to provide a roadmap or a blueprint for organizations to understanding technology, this future vision that we're talking about, which really is upon us. And my wheelhouse, which ended up being 2/3 of the book, which is leadership and culture and people, and how to implement technology successfully, gain buy-in, how to use it, some considerations, I think, in selecting and implementing technology effectively. And then, what does that really mean when we talk about this digital transformation shift in industry, right? Industry 4.0 or advanced manufacturing, connected workplaces, integrating the now connected worker into the systems and equipment and factory around them offers a lot of potential for the future so that the workplace can become adaptable to the workforce. And now safety doesn't exist in a silo, but rather is interdependent and interconnected with efficiency and productivity and quality. So that's really what the book is about. If anybody might find that helpful, we're not selling it. I don't own the book, but CRC Press does. On the other hand, I did put up an easy web page, which is at MākuSafe.com/book. So MAKUSAFE.com/book is where you can find more information. And I'm proud that we got it done. I think it is a useful resource. And the publisher just released it yesterday, actually. So kind of cool to talk about.
How exciting.
Yeah, thanks.
Version 2 of the Heat Stress app is available now. Cutting-edge science to keep outdoor and now indoor workers safe. Available for Apple and Android. Scan the QR code to learn more.
Now, you have an extensive leadership experience. Let's say somebody's a leader and they want to incorporate this technology, right? What would excite them the most?
Jokingly, sometimes I say I might as well just introduce myself as Big Brother, because that's what everybody's thinking anyway. Let's get that out of the way, right? What is this tracking? Is it really tracking people? That's usually the first question we hear from individual leaders within an organization or the organization as a whole. And the answer is, over the course of a decade now that we've been doing this, we've gotten very, very good at how to communicate to frontline workers what we're doing, even more importantly, maybe what we don't do. Right? We're not tracking people, how the data will be used. So, partnering with a vendor, we're a small business. We learn all the time. That's how we've gotten this far. Partnering with somebody like us and then letting us become a trusted partner of your business, I think is key.
Of course.
Looking at your shoes, on the other hand, and not wanting to talk to somebody because they sell things is a missed opportunity to learn. We try to collaborate and work with our clients as deeply as we can and pass on to them what we've learned. From there, though, we try to make it as easy as possible. Somebody I was talking to at lunch was making the analogy of safety to quality, right? It's the only two places maybe where you can build a profession only focused on what already happened.
Of course, yeah.
And that's sad, but it's true.
It is.
So when it comes to safety, just like quality, one of the requirements really we have is, in order to prove value quickly, we want to get as much data as possible as fast as we can. So that means not starting with 3 people in my loading dock who are going to try this as a pilot. I mean, really, we're talking to organizations about having 60 or 80 or 100 people. Usually within 100 days, we can have a volume of data that is so easy to point to the value in that data that it becomes real easy to make the business case upward within an organization about moving on to additional facilities or expanding use within a company. So that's sort of what we tried to do. I think your question was, if you're a leader that's interested, where do you start, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where you start. I mean, learn more, realize it doesn't have to be hard. Technology can be human-centric and can contribute to culture and participation and engagement. I said that a couple times, but it really deserves repeating, right? That's often this insurmountable mountain that we have to climb. Nobody knows where to start. Mm-hmm. Leading indicators are not a new idea anymore, yet, how do we get data scientists to mine all the data that we have from all these disparate systems? It doesn't need to be that way. And leading indicators can be much more useful than how many safety talks did you attend in the past 6 months, right? Real-time leading indicators about environmental concerns or about, strain and exertion or about what people are seeing. Those things can really fuel a much more strategic safety management approach and can really close the loop.
Absolutely.
Right? Evaluating how we're doing is often the weak point in every management process. When it comes to safety management, we're not bad at hazard identification, but we can't be everywhere. We're stretched thin. Nobody can see everything.
Of course.
Right? Using technology to identify hazards is a game changer.
Revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean, hazard analysis, risk analysis. Again, safety professionals do that and understand what presents a risk to their business, but technology can fuel that. Implementing controls. All too often, I ask the question, how do we know that the corrective action taken achieved the desired result? And usually the unfortunate answer is, well, we think it did. Nobody else has gotten hurt. And I say yet, right?
Yes.
If we're using data to measure and provide evidence about corrective actions, then that fuels that management process and really can be, a force multiplier. It can aid management effectiveness and efficiency.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Tom, as we approach the end of this episode, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, I think the future is now.
Future is now.
Data is key. There's a roadmap available to how to think about implementation of tools that are accessible and don't have to be expensive or hard anymore. And our blueprint, our roadmap, if you will, for the future just keeps evolving. We started with a focus about what an individual worker is experiencing that is personalized and unique to them. And we evolved down that path quite effectively to emerge as a leader in the world, I think, in the wearable space. During the pandemic, we got very consumed with understanding worker-to-worker proximity, right? Wearable to wearable proximity, and got very good at that. Hopefully we'll never need contact tracing again, but we can do that. But that put us on a path, and our clients' requests of us really wanted to see worker interaction with the other connected systems and equipment around us. And what else could we do with proximity that added versatility to an already robust, package of technology? That led us to recently putting out press releases about something we call Scout, which is a forklift safety application of our existing technology.
Okay.
So using proximity to alert a driver to worker density around them, which might not be visible, and collecting data about PIV and pedestrian interactions. That data is proving to be extraordinarily valuable. We've got some clients in really high volume operations that have re-engineered traffic patterns, moved the most accomplished and experienced drivers to the most problematic times of day or days of week, right? They've reduced those interactions by 86% in a couple of months. And the surprising thing is, these people that tend to measure everything, it's very commendable, have also charted enhancement or improvement in productivity. So by alleviating risk, by keeping people safer, they also made the job easier and have improved output, which may be the holy grail of keeping people safe.
Absolutely.
So it's exciting for us. I was on board from the very beginning with our founders as a startup technology, and now we're on multiple continents around the world. And I get to come and do this and speak and educate and inform audiences and talk about the application of our technology to make jobs easier and save lives and reduce risk.
Save lives, reduce risk, make an impact.
Yeah, reduce claims and injuries and incidents, and absolutely make an impact, yeah.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
To learn more, visit the AIHA website and follow us on social media. Listeners, thank you for tuning in, and as always, remember that healthier workplaces means a healthier world. Until next time.